The emotion in Steven Gerrard's latest admission hits differently because this isn't hindsight dressed up as PR. This is a brutally honest reflection from a manager who now realizes he may have walked away from something special too soon. Let's break this down. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Speaking candidly, Gerrard has revealed he regrets leaving Rangers for Aston Villa in 2021, a decision that, at the time, felt like the natural next step in his managerial rise. But now, with distance and perspective, that move looks far more complicated. After all, this wasn't just any Rangers side he left behind. Under Gerrard, Rangers had just delivered one of the most iconic seasons in modern Scottish football. An unbeaten title-winning campaign in 2020-21 that ended Celtic's dominance and restored pride to Ibrox. And yet, just months later, he was gone. In his own words, Gerrard doesn't hide from it. Would I have stayed at Rangers longer to get more experience? I regret doing it now. I didn't at the time. That contrast is what makes this so compelling. At the moment he made the decision, it felt right. The pull of the Premier League, widely regarded as the most competitive league in the world, is something few managers turn down. But Gerrard admits he may have underestimated the jump. The level was a big jump. I probably didn't realize that at the time. That line alone tells you everything. This wasn't just a career move. It was a leap into a completely different level of pressure, expectation, and scrutiny. What makes this story even more layered is what Gerrard revealed about the situation inside Rangers at the time. Despite delivering the title, there were doubts. The conversations with Rangers after we won it didn't feel as if Rangers were ready to go again. This is crucial. Success often masks underlying issues, and Gerrard hints that recruitment plans, financial backing, and ambition didn't align with his expectations. Instead of building on success, the feeling was one of consolidation. It was a bit more like, let's settle this and fix that. The promises weren't as strong as I thought they would be. So when Aston Villa came calling, with Premier League resources and a fresh challenge, the decision became clearer in the moment, even if it doesn't look that way now. Gerrard's time at Aston Villa ultimately didn't go to plan, and that's what makes this regret linger even more. Because now looking back, the question becomes unavoidable. What if he had stayed? Could he have built a Rangers dynasty? Could he have gained the experience he now feels he lacked? Would his managerial trajectory look completely different today? These are the sliding door moments that define careers, and Gerrard is openly acknowledging one of his. Interestingly, the story didn't end there. Following the departure of Russell Martin, Gerrard was heavily linked with a return to Rangers, a move that would have completed a dramatic full-circle moment. Talks took place, the door was open, but in the end, he said no. Instead, Rangers turned to Danny Röhl, and Gerrard remained on the outside looking in, which only adds another layer to the regret. Not only did he leave too soon, but when the chance came to fix it, he didn't take it. In modern football, it's rare to hear such direct, unfiltered reflection from a high-profile figure like Gerrard. There's no deflection, no excuses, just a simple truth. He made the best decision he could at the time, and now wishes he hadn't. And that's what makes this story so powerful. In other news, uncertainty is beginning to cloud the future of Rangers captain James Tavernier, with the experienced right-back now facing a pivotal crossroads as his contract edges closer to expiry. With no agreement yet in place and time steadily running out, the possibility of a summer departure is no longer remote. It's becoming increasingly realistic. At 34, Tavernier remains one of the most influential figures at Ibrox, both on and off the pitch. His leadership, consistency, and remarkable attacking output from defence have defined an era for Rangers. Yet despite his importance, the lack of progress in contract negotiations has raised serious questions about how the club views his long-term role. Concerns surrounding his age and the structure of any potential extension appear to be key sticking points, contributing to a growing sense that the situation could drift toward an exit rather than a renewal. There is a strong feeling that, ideally, Tavernier would prefer to remain where he has built his legacy. However, football rarely allows sentiment to dictate outcomes, especially at this stage of a player's career. Interest from abroad, particularly from clubs in Saudi Arabia and Turkey, has lingered in the background for some time. Should those opportunities materialize into concrete offers, they could present a compelling alternative. Speaking on the situation, Mick Brown suggested that while Tavernier's preference may lean towards staying, the realities of the market could prove decisive. "I'm sure James Tavernier would like to stay at Rangers," he explained. "He's been such an important player there for so many years, and at his age I think he'd want to stick around and probably finish his career there. But having said that, if he gets a lucrative offer to go somewhere else at this stage of his career, I'm sure he could be tempted to take one last payday." That balance between loyalty and opportunity is often where major decisions are made. For Tavernier, this could represent the final significant contract of his career, an element that cannot be overlooked. Financial security combined with a new challenge may ultimately outweigh emotional ties, particularly if uncertainty continues to define Rangers' stance. Brown also pointed to the potential psychological impact of delayed negotiations, suggesting that hesitation from the club could influence the player's thinking. Obviously, a lot will depend on how Rangers feel and whether they want to offer him a new contract, but even if they do, I don't think it's guaranteed. He might look at it and say, well, why did it take so long? They're obviously not sure about it, so any rival offers might tempt him to move on. There's probably a lot still to happen, and I'm sure they'll sit down with him to talk about it, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see him walk away. That last line feels particularly telling. The idea of Tavernier leaving on a free transfer would have seemed unthinkable not long ago, yet it is now firmly within the realm of possibility. Behind the scenes, Rangers appear to be preparing for that very outcome. Recruitment plans are already in motion, with the club actively assessing right-back options ahead of the summer window. One name gaining traction is Lucas Stevenson, who has impressed during his loan spell at Dundee United. At just 22, Stevenson represents a markedly different profile, young, developing, and potentially a long-term solution. His performances in the Scottish Premiership have not gone unnoticed, attracting interest from multiple clubs, including both sides of the Old Firm divide. Rangers' interest signals a clear intention to refresh the position, possibly signalling a shift toward the next generation. However, any move for Stevenson is far from straightforward. He remains under contract with Liverpool, where he is still highly regarded. A return to his parent club at the end of the season could open the door for him to stake a claim in the first team setup, adding another layer of complexity to any potential transfer. All of this leaves Rangers facing a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they have a club captain who has delivered year after year and embodies leadership within the squad. On the other, they must plan for the future, weighing up the risks of extending a player in the latter stages of his career against the need for continuity and evolution. For Tavernier, the coming weeks could define the final chapter of his Rangers story. Whether that ends with a renewed commitment or a high-profile departure will depend on decisions made on both sides, decisions that carry significant implications for the club's direction moving forward. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We post all the latest Rangers news every single day, so join our fast-growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.